or .NET Core, both are meant for developing different types of applications. For developing those applications, you can use any of these languages, either C# or F# or C++ or VB.NET. Okay, classic.NET is actually little heavier and it is restricted to only Windows operating system. .NET Core is lightweight, okay, and the applications which you develop for .NET Core can run on different operating systems, just like Java applications. They are platform independent. Whereas classic .NET based applications, they run only within the Windows family of operating systems. There are many versions of Windows. The very first version was Windows 95, then we had Windows 98, then we had Windows Me, okay, Windows 2000 we had, okay, then we had actually like Windows 7 we have, Windows 8 we had, Windows 10, Windows 11. Apart from that, there are many other versions of Windows. Okay, .NET based applications, classic .NET based applications, they can work only with the Windows family of operating systems. Whereas .NET Core applications can work on any operating system. It can be Unix, Linux, Macintosh, or even Windows. Okay, but for developing such applications, we require any of these languages there. You have to be proficient in any one language. C# or F# or C++ or VB.NET. If you are having some background with the C or C++ or Java, you can start using C#. Okay, if you have experience with the like Lisp kind of thing, list processing, that is actually functional programming language. Whereas C# is what imperative language. C# is imperative language. F# is actually, it is a like a functional programming language. Even C++ is imperative language. VB.NET is also imperative language. Okay, so here either by using C# or F# or C++ or VB.NET, you can start developing applications for the .NET Core. But if you have background with the C or C++, then you can choose C#. Okay, if you have background experience, I mean, earlier if you worked with the Lisp kind of thing or Prolog kind of application, I mean, languages, in such cases, you can choose the F# language. And if you are developing applications for system software, in such cases, you can choose the C++. Coding in C++ is a little tedious, but the code of the C++ can run very fast when compared with actually C# or Java. Okay, the applications what you develop using C++, if they are actually unmanaged code, they run very fast. In the case of managed code, there is no difference what kind of language you are using. Whether you use C# or F# or C++ or VB.NET, there is no difference. Performance-wise, all of they are same. When you develop applications with the .NET, you can do one is actually managed code, other one is unmanaged code. Managed code runs actually in a sandbox. In the .NET environment, it runs. Okay. And whenever you compile application, you generate IL code. IL code meaning is what here? Intermediate language. That language has to be, interpreted by the .NET runtime environment. So you have two environments. One is development environment. Second thing is runtime environment. We'll discuss more about that after visiting C#, few programs we write, then we come to discussion point of those things. To develop applications for the .NET, classic .NET or .NET Core, first we require an IDE called Visual Studio. Okay, we require here Visual Studio. The latest is actually 2022. You need to download Community Edition. Okay, there are professional editions, standard editions, and similarly enterprise edition, but for them you need to pay. Okay, since you are learning, you are not developing any application for commercial purpose, in such case you can go with the community edition. So this is free, you can download and you can use it. So you require IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. With the help of that, you can develop here .NET based applications. Okay, you require Visual Studio 2022. Then this is Community Edition you need to download. From Microsoft site, you can download and you can install. Okay. Okay, the size of the Visual Studio is about 7 GB, I think. The file size and all the file size is going to be about here, about 7 GB. Okay, along with this, you have to have SQL Server. You need to install even the SQL Server, latest developer edition. I think 2019 is sufficient. Along with SSMS. SSMS stands for SQL Server Management Studio. You may develop an application. So using that application, ultimately what you do, you manipulate data. Whatever data you manipulate, ultimately that has to be saved in a flat file or in a database. Okay, SQL Server is actually a commercial RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay, so that is going to save your data, and using SQL commands, you can retrieve data. You can integrate SQL Server into your application as well. So your application can be client. From your application, you are going to save data in the database. Whenever needed, you are retrieving. Whatever program you write, it is going to be made for processing the data. So therefore, for processing data, once you process data, you get information, so that you may print or that you may save. Depending on the requirement, you are going to do that. Okay, to save, you require some kind of files or some kind of database in that you are going to save ultimately. So with the .NET, most commonly used database is SQL Server 2019. Okay, so SQL Server 2019, with that we save the data, we retrieve data using actually your code. And using here C#, for the .NET Core, we can develop console applications or Windows applications, or other one is actually web applications. Also, sometimes you can develop mobile applications. Apart from this, sometimes you can develop even Windows services. Okay, and sometimes IoT related also you can do. Okay, you can develop console applications or Windows applications, or you can develop web applications or mobile applications, Windows services. Okay, IoT, Internet of Things. I mean, like that, you can develop different types of applications and you can use them. So for developing, we use here Visual Studio, Community Edition. Along with that, you have C# language. With the help of that, you can develop. Okay, we use here C# language. The power behind actually .NET platform is here. Many languages like C#, F#, C++, VB.NET, but I use C# because I like it. It is something similar to C, C++, Java, like JavaScript. Similarly, sometimes I can compare with PHP. So that's why I prefer to use C#. Okay, if you have background with the VB, suppose you are a basic programmer, basic language programmer, then you adopted VB, Visual Basic. Okay, then after that, or else if you work with actually VBA, if you are an Excel programmer, there you use VBA, or if you use VB script heavily, in such case, you can prefer VB.NET. Okay, as far as performance is concerned, there is no difference whether you use C# or VB.NET. It's only programmer choice and programmer convenience. As far as managed applications are concerned, but when you develop unmanaged applications, performance can be a little fast when compared with the managed applications. Okay, so here you can develop console applications or Windows applications or web applications or mobile applications, Windows services, IoT, Internet of Things. So any kind of application virtually you can develop using the .NET and the C#. C# is a language. C# is nothing but actually language. Using that language, you develop here the applications. How you develop using Python, different types of applications, how you develop actually using C system software, how you develop using C++ system software. In the same manner, you can develop applications using here C# language and .NET platform. Okay, and .NET has inbuilt libraries. Many libraries it has, like C libraries. Predefined libraries are available. So using them very quickly, you can develop applications. So this .NET, Visual Studio, C Sharp, they give us a provision to develop applications rapidly. All these are nothing but rapid application development tools. With the help of that, very quickly, you can develop applications. Sometimes even in a day, you can develop applications, depending on your proficiency, depending on the understanding of application, depending on the requirements, how you understood requirements. Mostly, the success of the project relies on the requirements understanding. If you understand requirements correctly, half of the work is completed. You can develop within less time the application. Regarding requirements, if you have confusion, definitely it takes longer time. Many iterations you have to go through. Then only ultimately application can be completed. So before you start application, you have to understand the requirements. Once you understand requirements well, then you can do application. Half of the application is done once you understand the requirements properly. So therefore, requirements gathering is very important. In the entire application development, only 20 to 25% is actually the developer's contribution. Coding is only 20 to 25%. Rest of the things are actually requirements gathering, then similarly architecting solution, database designing, okay, testing, coding, okay, ultimately maintaining that particular piece of code. So all these people together work. So ultimately your product comes into market, or then people start using it. Your success of the product is going to be depending on the how long actually your product is used. Some application, if it is used years together, then that is a very good application. It's meeting the requirements. Whatever application you develop, actually, it should have extensibility factor and adaptability. These two are very important. Apart from that, it should have readability. Whatever code you write, it should be readable. Okay. So people think that writing complex code is great job. Only good coders can do like that. But I contradict that. Whatever code you write, it should be simple. It should be easily understood. Okay. So therefore, the readability factor is here. You should put comments actually time to time. What you are trying to do there, you should put comments. If somebody is going through your code, easily they should understand. So these qualities are very, very important. So now in this, we are going to use C Sharp. With the help of C Sharp, we develop the applications. At the end of the session, if you have any questions, I can answer you. Okay. So here, to develop a sample application, first I launch here Visual Studio. So here I go to this, then I launch here Visual Studio 2022. So this is IDE, Integrated Development Environment. It's Microsoft Visual Studio. So here you find so many templates. You can open recent one, or you can create a new project. All these are templates available. So templates enable us to develop applications very quick. Otherwise, a lot of effort you need to put. Developers have to write a lot of code, okay, to even start an application. But with the help of the templates, very quickly, you can start developing applications. So here in this case, I can go with creating a new application. Okay. So it is showing actually here project templates for us. It is loading the recent project templates. And apart from that, you can have here many other things. So as I told you, initially we look into console applications. While learning C# language, okay, you develop small console applications. So with that, you understand how various libraries are available, how you can use various libraries which are predefined in the language, and you learn actually what are the different types of operators you have, okay, and how to write, how to do object-oriented programming, okay, how to create files, how to connect database, you understand. Then you can start developing actually real-time applications. Either it can be Windows application or it can be web applications. Our stress is going to be more and more on the web application development. That is called as a full stack. Okay, along with this .NET, we develop even, we are going to use some front-end tool. Either it can be React.js or Angular. These two are actually popular, front-end frameworks. Either Angular or other thing is what? React.js. Angular is from actually Google. React.js is from the Facebook. Both are popular. They are widely used. Okay, so one particular framework we choose, and with the help of that, we develop front-end. And backend web API we develop using this ASP.NET, classic ASP.NET. Sorry, not classic, ASP.NET Core. With the help of that, we develop. Okay, so here first I try to show you some simple application, a console application, and also we try to use here like XUnit. It is actually a unit testing framework. With the help of that, you can write test cases. Okay, a developer first has to write test case, then developer has to develop the code. Initially, whatever code you write, whatever methods you write, they have to fail. Then after that, what you do, you clean them, you change the code. Then ultimately what happens, your function or your method is going to succeed. So that way, developers first they need to write the unit test cases, then they should write the code. This is the practice we need to adopt always. Okay, so here we develop actually console application. First application is going to be console application. I want to develop a console application which can be running on here Linux, Mac OS, Windows. On all the platforms, they should be running for us. Or else you can go with actually here console app.NET framework only. That means it works only with the Windows operating system. So this is .NET Core based, and this is what here classic .NET framework based. Okay, this is what exactly classic, .NET Core based, and this is what here classic .NET framework based. This can run only with the Windows operating system if I choose the second option. But if I choose the first option, in such case, whatever application I develop, it can work with the like Macintosh operating system, Windows operating system. Okay, similarly with the Linux, it can work. With the Unix also, it can work. Provided that in the target computer, you have the .NET runtime environment. You need to have .NET runtime environment, then it can execute. So we discuss about them as we progress more and more. So let me first create a sample application. Console application, click on the next here. So here I want to go with a folder called in the G drive. Okay, .NET at 7. So this is a new folder I'm going to create here, location. So normally this location is not available. I need to create this. I have to create this particular thing in the G drive. Somewhere I create the new folder. The name of the folder is going to be this one, .NET at 7. Now I'm going to choose that folder, select folder. Here I give, so like app1. That means what? Application 1. I'm naming it as application 1, or else I put here console app1. The name of the project, name of the solution is going to be console app1. Okay, let me create now. Click on the next. So this is going to be using here .NET Core 7.0. Latest version is .NET 8.0, .NET Core that is, but I'm using here still .NET 7.0. Okay, so now I just click on the create here. When I click on the create here, automatically certain code is written for me. You can see some code which is automatically created for us. Okay, so we have this piece of code here. Automatically this has been created. We have opened Visual Studio. This is IDE. So using this IDE, you can write code, you can debug it, you can run application, you can deploy. Many things you can do using this IDE. So when you start creating a new application, it is going to create a solution for us. Okay, so if you go to view and when you click on the solution explorer, you can find here solution. What is the name of the solution here? Console app1. A solution can contain multiple projects in that. A single solution can contain multiple projects in that. So current project is what here? Console app1 is the name of the project. Okay, like this you can have multiple projects in the same solution. A solution is nothing but a container for applications or projects. You can have here multiple projects. So initially, whatever name you gave, that name is taken for the solution and for the project. Console app1 is the solution as well as a project here. But if you want to add a new project, you can add in that. Okay, you can add. Then in such case, what happens? Your solution is going to contain multiple projects in that. So I go here, then want to add another project. I go with the add here. It's a new project. Okay, so this is again XUnit test project. I'm adding this here. This is going to be X unit project here. Click on the next. Then here put it. Okay, console ABP, it is test. I'm going to create here a test project, X unit based test project that is. Here I can write all the test cases. Okay, here I can write the code. So this code, whether it's working correct or not, first you can check with the help of the this X unit. If that code is working properly, you can integrate in your application. First, you need to develop some class or some function. So whether the function is working correct or not, you can test with the help of the here test cases. You need to write X unit. Okay, we have a project called here console APP test. In that you can write a few test cases. So using those test cases, whatever functionality you developed in the project, so that you have to test if they are working, you can integrate within your application. Why we write functions? Because functions can be reused. A number of times you can use. So therefore now in this solution, we have here two different projects. First project is what here, an application, and this is what here, a testing project. Based on the X unit, this is going to be working for us. Okay, console app.test. This is the name of the project here. And this is what console app1. This project actually meant for, here we develop actual application. And here, whatever features you have in that, whatever clauses, whatever methods you have, you can test them with the console app test here. So this is based on the X unit. X unit is a framework. With the help of that, you can write unit test cases. Okay, so developer has to first write code, then that should be tested. In the test, if it is succeeding, then what we do, we can integrate that code, that functionality in the entire project. So like this, you need to write the test cases. First, you need to write test cases within the test project. Your actual code is going to be in the like normal application. So console app1, and next thing is what here, console app test. This is based on the X unit, which is nothing but actually a test framework. Okay, it is called as actually here a test framework. So we have in this case now two different projects. One is what console app1. Next thing is what here console app test. There are two projects available. A solution is nothing but set of projects. Okay, so it can be related to application or it can be related to some testing. Sometimes even related to database also you can have projects. Okay, but the solution can contain multiple projects in that. It can contain actually multiple projects. So in these projects, first thing is what, an application related project. Second thing is what here, testing related project. Testing related project is actually not mandatory, but whatever code you have written, whether that's working correct or not, you can check using actually this testing project. X unit is a testing framework. With the help of that, you are going to validate your code. Whatever code you have written, is it as per the requirements, it's working or not, you can check it. Okay, so once developer unit test, if it is working fine, that code can be integrated, then ultimately product can be given to testing people. So again, they test the application. If the application is working fine, then that can be moved into production. Normally, you have three versions. First thing is developer version. Second thing is actually staging version. Third thing is going to be production. Like this, you have actually three phases in this. In the first phase, developer is going to be developing application. So once development is completed, before the code is handed over to the testers, okay, the developer has to unit test. Here, .NET applications, we can unit test with the help of the X unit. A .NET developer has to know about the X unit. It's important. Okay, you have to know how to unit test, how to write unit test cases, what is fact, what is theory in that, you learn as we progress actually. So we have to initially test. Then after that, you have to integrate various functions, various objects and classes together. Ultimately, your application gets finished. So once that is completed, again, you are going to test it. If it is working fine at your end, you are going to give that code to the testers. So testers, again, they have to test it. They should try to find the bugs which are not visible to the developer. Okay, so if in the testing people hands, if the project is passing, then in that case, that can be deployed in the production environment. Like this, normally we have. So therefore, here we have two different projects in this. First one is what? Related to application. Second thing is related to testing of the application. So this is for the unit testing. We use a framework called here XUnit. So using XUnit, we are developing here. Okay, using XUnit, we are developing in this. Just 1 minute. Okay. So now let me close time being this one here and we come to the program.cs. As soon as you, create an application, by default, in this case, it's going to create a class called program. And in this, you have a main method. In the C language, how you have a main function? In the same manner, this is a main method. This is nothing but starting point of the application. Your project is going to be starting with this method here. It's the starting point of the application. Okay. And what is written in this console.writeLine? Hello world. Okay. Welcome to, here I add, welcome to .NET. .NET Core applications. Okay, so like this, I have changed it here using console.writeLine. Then I try to run this. You can go here and click on the start debugging. Your application should run now without any errors. So what is happening here now? You can see here it's getting printed for you. You can see, hello world, welcome to .NET Core applications. This is getting printed. Whatever you have here, it's getting printed. So using WriteLine method, you are printing this on the screen. On the screen, you are printing with the help of the console.writeLine. Hello world, welcome to .NET Core applications. Okay, so this class name is what here? Program. And this is called as a namespace. A namespace is nothing but a package. You assume like a package in the Python. Or in the Java, you can think it as a Python. It is basically a compartment, you can say. So in this particular namespace, related classes you can put. Related class means similar type of functionality. Whatever classes you have, all of them are going to be put under one logical name that is called as here namespace. Okay, so logical name is what in this case here? Here console app1. This is going to be namespace. Again, while developing application, whatever initial name you gave, so same name comes with the namespace here. So namespace console app1. In that I have actually class called program. Okay, so internal class program this is. Internal meaning is what here? It is available only within the concerned namespace. Only in this console app1 namespace it's available. In the other namespaces, it is not going to be available. Internal meaning is what here? It's internal to this namespace. Only within the namespace it is available. So this is, you can think it as actually visibility. So it is visible only within the namespace when it is internal. When it is private, okay, you cannot have a private class. There is no meaning in that case. But when it is public, what happens exactly? In the other namespace also, you can use it. Even in other projects also, you can use it. Okay, in other projects also, it is going to be available when you make it actually public. The scope is what here? Either it can be internal or it can be public. As far as here a class is concerned, either it can be internal or it can be public. Public meaning is what? The same program you can use in number of projects. In the same solution, in number of projects you can use. Okay, so here internal class program. Program is going to be the name of the class. Then inside this you have a method called main method. This is nothing but starting point of the application for us. This is the starting point of the application. Okay, so here we are running it from the, Visual Studio. Instead of running from Visual Studio, even you can go with here from command line client. Just a minute. What happened in this case here? Again, let me run this. So it is printing here, hello world, welcome to .NET Core applications. So instead of, executing this from command line also I can do. So that's why we call it as console application or command line application. I just go to G drive. Okay, in this .NET we have some, just now actually we created a folder. So what is the name of the folder? Let me see here. Save as here. So this is the path I have. I can copy this path and I change into concerned directory here. Okay, then here if I type dir command, I can go to bin folder, binary files this is. Then here again, type what else is available here. I have a debug folder. Then here again, I go with the cd net 7.0 here. Okay, now when I type here, I can see the application like this exe file I have here. This is a file exe. Now I can execute straight away here using command prompt. Console app1, just I can type what it's doing here. Hello world, welcome to .NET Core applications. So since we are executing it from the command prompt, we call it as console application, or we can say them as command line applications. Since we are executing from the command prompt, we call them as actually console applications or command line applications. We can even call them as actually command line applications. Okay, even here you can pass the parameters. You can even send the arguments or parameters to the application so that I show how we do in this. Okay, suppose you come to this one here, instead of printing this console.writeline, hello world, welcome to .NET Core application. I don't want to print this, something else I would like to print there. Okay, so after doing some calculation, I want to print it. I can go with commenting. So this is called as here single line comment. There are basically three types of comments. One is single line comment, one is multi-line comment, other one is actually XML comment. You have here three types of comments. Okay, single line comment, then you have multi-line comment. One more thing is going to be here. It's called as actually XML commenting. Okay, you can have actually XML comments also, but they are available only before the class name or before the method name. Automatically, you can create documentation with the help of them. That is called as actually XML comments. Okay, you can go with XML comments, or you can go with single line, or you can go with multi-line comments. XML comments you can use only before the class name or before the method name. Okay, before the method name or before the class name. Class is basically, it's a module. You can think like a module. Inside the class, you can find many methods. Okay, a class may contain data, a class may contain functionality. Functionality is called as actually methods. In the OOPS concept or in the object-oriented programming, instead of saying function, we call it as method. Okay, and it may have data. Related to class, you may have data. So the data can be called as here sometimes like state. So it can give state. For example, you take a circle. Okay, I want to say something about circle here. What exactly circle? How can you define circle? For defining circle, you require some x coordinate, you require y coordinate, and you require here in this case radius. If you don't have them, you cannot call it as a circle. Okay, x and y can say in which quadrant the circle is lying. And using radius, what you can do, you can find the area, you can find perimeter, and even sometimes you can move circle in the plane from one quadrant to another quadrant, or in the same quadrant from one point to another point. So therefore, x and y give you location of the circle, and radius can give you, its circumference, and with the help of that, you can find the area. Okay, so therefore, radius and x and y are called actually state. From circle to circle, they change. All the circles, suppose you are trying some 5 or 6 circles, they may not have same state. The state changes from one circle to another circle. So circle you can think as a class. All the objects, circle objects should have x coordinate, y coordinate, and radius. Similarly, for all of them, we should be in a position to find the area, find perimeter. Okay, similarly, we can move circle from one location to another location. So this is called as here data, or we can call this as a state. Okay, but here, how we add certain functionality. With the help of that, you can manipulate this data. Now you want to find here area. In the case of area, what we do, we write a method called area. with the help of area, you can find the area there. So how you find what is the calculation you have in that? You take the pi r square formula. With the help of that, you can do it. 3.14 multiplied with radius, you can get the area. Similarly, you have perimeter. So perimeter is what exactly? Perimeter, how do you calculate? This is nothing but 2 multiplied with 3.14 multiplied with r. So with that, you get actually perimeter. So therefore, this area and perimeter, they are working on the radius data. So methods act on the data and they transform the data into some meaningful information. Okay, so I mean, in an object-oriented concept, a class contains data as well as methods. Methods can act on the data. Ultimately, they give us information from the available data. So like this, we have in the OOPS concept. A circle is what exactly? A circle is nothing. It is having state here. X is a coordinate, Y is a coordinate, radius is what exactly? It is a it's the distance between any point on the circumference and the center point. That we call as radius. So using here area, you can find the radius. Using perimeter, you can find here actually the perimeter. But what we use exactly, radius we are going to use. With the help of that only, we do it. Okay, so therefore, here what happens? If you look at console application, here in this case, I have written a class. This class name is what exactly? Program. And this is called as a main method, which is nothing but a starting point of the application. And it is what? Static method. Static methods don't require object creation. Without creating object, actually, static methods, they work. Okay, so here what is happening? Initially in the beginning, you need to understand like this. You may have little confusion about what is class, what is object. But initially, you have to start like this. As we progress, all your doubts can be cleared. We need to have patience in that case. So we are writing a class called here program, and in that we have written a method called main. So in this main method now, I want to write some piece of code here. Like I can declare few variables int a equal to 10, then similarly b equal to some 20. I am declaring here two variables which are of what type? Integer type. It's nothing but numeric type. Now I want to add them and I want to print the result here. Okay, so what I do here, console dot, then write here write line. Okay, the sum of here, the sum of, okay, the sum of here, I can go this way, 0 and here 1 is, this is going to be here 2. So these are called as basically placeholders. Now you are going to be passing the arguments. First argument is going to be getting substituted here. Second argument value will be substituted here. And third argument value will be substituted here. Okay, so you need to specify the arguments. They are going to be positional. The position of the argument must be specified within the curly brackets here. Now come to this point, then give here A, then B, then followed by here A plus B, we write. A plus B, we are going to be writing. So ultimately, this has to print us the 30 value. So what we expect here, the sum of here 10 and 20 is here 30 we should get when we run this. I save this here. Then after that, I build this solution. I go to command prompt. Then here I run this. So what it says in this case, the sum of 10 and 20 is here 30, saying in this. The sum of 10 and 20 is here 30. Like this, we are getting the output here. So using console.writeLine, we are writing onto the screen. So console meaning is what here? Screen. Onto the screen, we are writing it. Console can be keyboard or console can be here monitor. Okay, console can be keyboard or console can be monitor here. So using this, we are writing onto the screen here. We are writing onto screen. On the screen, this is getting printed for us. The sum of 10 and 20 is here 30. Like this, I have written a small application and it's getting printed here. Yeah.